had been stripped out. Provisions like funding for juvenile cancer research, funding for combating opioid abuse, and for lowering prescription drug prices, things that tangibly help the American people and which Democrats included in this bill as their price for supporting it in the first place. The new proposal also had a big gift for Donald Trump, a 2-year extension of the debt limit that would allow Trump to avoid raising the debt limit in his first 2 years in office, which is probably why Trump endorsed Johnson's latest effort today and called it a very good deal for the American people. Elon Musk also put his stamp of approval on the new bill, calling it a much better bill. But before anyone voted on it, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries tonight made clear that whatever Speaker Johnson had cobbled together was not something his party was going to support.
House Republicans have abandoned that bipartisan agreement that we entered into in good faith, a bill that House Republicans negotiated, gave us your word that we were going to move forward together on behalf of the American people. It was a Republican-drafted bill that was posted by House Republicans. And then one or two puppet masters weigh in, and the extreme MAGA Republicans decide to do the bidding of the wealthy, the well-off, the well-connected, millionaires and billionaires, not working-class people.
Democrats were not the only ones lining up against this bill. Here was Republican Congressman Chip Roy, again, Republican congressman, speaking before the vote.
What we're doing right now is to continue to double down on the things that are destroying the republic. I am absolutely sickened by a party that campaigns on fiscal responsibility and has the temerity to go forward to the American people and say, you think this is fiscally responsible. It is absolutely ridiculous. This side of the aisle is profoundly unserious about actually reducing deficits.
In the end, the bill failed because 38 Republicans broke with their own party, their own Speaker of the House, to oppose his bill. Republicans so far cannot manage to organize themselves enough to keep the government open. But to hear Republicans tell it, the very Republicans who created this mess to begin with, it is all Democrats' fault.
The Democrats just voted to shut down the government, even though we had a clean CR, because they didn't want to give the president negotiating leverage during his first term, or during the first year of his new term. And number two, because they would rather shut down the government and fight for global censorship bullshit. They've asked for a shutdown, and I think that's exactly what they're going to get.
38 Republicans vote against it as well. What's the path forward, Mr. Vance?
Come on, guys.
Joining me now are Congressman Lauren Underwood, who's a Democrat from Illinois, and Congressman Eric Swalwell, Democrat of California. Guys, thank you both for being here. I'm eager to get your thoughts on a lot of this. But first, Eric, let me start with you, Congressman. Is the government going to shut down tomorrow night?
Eric, please. It better not, because, the people who I represent, people who rely on VA benefits, Social Security benefits, small business loans, just want us to work together and look out for them. And what they're seeing right now is this broligarchy, this group of billionaire boys that Donald Trump has brought in to government are the ones who are calling the shots. And you know what? If Elon Musk and Vivek want to make the government more efficient, that's great. My constituents want that more. And there's no one who hates government waste in my town and where I'm from than me. But if this is really about just paving the way to cut Social Security and Medicare, then I promise you that my colleagues and I will walk through hot coals and fire to stop it. And so what we're sending tonight as a message, and you heard it brilliantly from Leader Jeffries, is that Republicans are fighting for the rich. We're for the rest.
Congresswoman Underwood, I thought it was fairly audacious for the vice president-elect to say that this is a Democratic shutdown, given the fact that 38 Republicans voted against this bill. What can you tell me about the mood inside the Democratic caucus? We know that there were reported chants of hell no coming from a closed-door meeting of Democrats this afternoon. How united is the party right now? How firm do you believe everyone is going to stand in opposition to whatever Republicans propose down the line?
Well, Democrats remain united behind our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, who so capably articulated on the House floor our opposition to Elon Musk's plan to support these billionaires and the corporate tax cheats through their tax plan and then cut Social Security for your mom and your granny. I think that House Democrats are going to remain united and focused on delivering for the American people. And Republicans just need to look in the mirror. They need to remember that it was Mike Johnson, Donald Trump, and Elon Musk who put us in this position just one day before government funding ends.
I guess I am astounded by the fact that thus far, the plan, if we're calling it that, is Elon Musk swoops in at the 11th hour, kills the bipartisan bill. That's Wednesday. Thursday, the Speaker of the House comes forward with a bill that Democrats aren't going to countenance, but he can't even get his own party to vote for it. The government's barreling towards a shutdown in about 24 hours, and the House is on recess. Congressman Swalwell, do you think that their plan now is just to say the Democrats did this, go home, and then let federal government employees just work through the holiday season with no paychecks? I mean, is it about finger pointing at this stage, or do you think there's actually some negotiation that still has yet to happen?
There's no plan, there's no competence, and that's the problem with someone like Musk horning his way in. Is he wants government to be efficient? And by the way, I do think it's interesting that the Department of Government Efficiency has two people who are running it. Like, it turns out that may not be the best way to be the most efficient. But the real people who are affected here, it's the TSA agent who 2 weeks ago, as this was looming, pulled me aside. He knew that he was going to be helping me with security at the airport. And he said, my wife wanted me to ask you, are we going to be okay? Those are the types of folks who are affected by these billionaire games. And to them, it's not a game. It's just, can I provide for my kids around Christmas time? And also, by the way, I want you to know, I was with a few Republicans yesterday as Musk was, rage tweeting and giving his orders. And they were completely apoplectic. Yeah. And I told one of them, I said, if you let him do this, if he does this and you don't stand up to him now, he's going to own you for the next Congress. And every bill that's on the floor, you're going to wait around on cots to see what Elon Musk says you're allowed to do. And that's no way to represent the people who sent you here.
I think that those were wise words. At the same time, Congresswoman Underwood, the fact that 38 Republicans voted against the bill that was kind of the last-ditch effort from Speaker Johnson, that was endorsed by Donald Trump, that was co-signed by, I believe, J.D. Vance and Elon Musk, the fact that they said, no, I mean, isn't that a brushback of Donald Trump? It's hard to understand exactly where the sort of center of gravity is right now.
Well, they knew it was a bad deal, and that's why they voted no. And so at the end of the day, we have the opportunity to come back to the floor and to vote to keep government open. We have an opportunity to express our values and show up for the American people, to make sure that our economy keeps humming in this holiday season, to make sure essential government services are funded, to make sure that we're offering disaster relief, and then also funding important programs like maternal health and child cancer prevention, and making sure that we're lowering the prescription drug costs and all these other things that we have to take care of in this critical funding package. We have an opportunity to do our jobs. And I just hope that Speaker Mike Johnson, Donald Trump, and Elon Musk will get out of the way and let us do our work.
Can I ask you a follow-up to that, though? I mean, is it your sense that if Democrats are going to have to help Republicans pull this over the finish line because there's too much infighting in the Republican conference, that the only thing the Democratic caucus will countenance at this point is a return to the original bill? Is that the sense that you're getting from leadership, Congresswoman Underwood?
I want to be clear. What I'm speaking about, and when I say let us do our jobs, is a bipartisan agreement, right? It is not our responsibility to bail them out. They have the majority. Mike Johnson is the Speaker of the House, and it is his responsibility to unify his conference and to put a bill on the floor that they can support. But what I'm saying is, Alex, that we have interference from billionaires like Elon Musk who are taking the opportunity to play orchestra conductor, and Donald Trump was so eager to comply. And so that's how we find ourselves in this position. An unelected billionaire has blown up congressional negotiations and is shutting down the government. And that is what's unacceptable.
Yeah, Eric, Congressman Swalwell, what's so stunning in the reporting about this, and from what I understand from inside Congress, is people were generally on board with passing this thing as of Wednesday, right? There was no mention of it. You know, Trump wasn't talking about it earlier in the week.
That's right.
It's really a confection of Elon Musk's making, and Trump has actually almost played catch up to figure out why he's incensed about it and added in this debt ceiling raise, almost as a face-saving mechanism to say, okay, this is why I've decided that the reason I don't like the original bill is because I need this to be in it. First of all, that's insane that Elon Musk is actually leading Trump to be at odds with his own party. But secondly, do you have a working theory about why Donald Trump is so keen to get the debt ceiling off of his plate before he takes office?
And by the way, Donald Trump, not too long ago, did not want his party to raise the debt ceiling. And so this is because he is just incapable of governing. And so he wants them to do as much as they can now so that he doesn't have to be serious, when these decisions come down the pike. But as my colleague Lauren said, look, we're unified. And in the last Congress, you've never seen this in any Congress in America and any parliament in the world. The minority party, the Democratic Party, delivered the majority amount of votes on every vote of consequence. Multiple shutdowns that were averted, lifting the debt ceiling so we could pay our bills, funding the conflict to keep Ukraine in the fight. We delivered the majority. So we're going to show common sense and competence, and they are going to continue to bring chaos. And it's just on us to make sure the American people understand the difference.
That's such an important point that Democrats were delivering the majority to get things passed, even when Republicans were running the chamber. I got to say, Congresswoman Underwood, Donald Trump isn't in office yet. I think they're going to have, at least for the first couple months of the year, an even slimmer majority in the House than they do now. So, I mean, how are you guys thinking about what happens next, given the utter chaos we are spiraling into before the Trump administration has even begun?
Alex, I was first sworn in 2019 in the middle of a Trump shutdown. And so this isn't new. This is what we have come to expect from a Donald Trump presidency. And at the end of the day, it is our jobs to stand up for the American people and to make sure that their interests are protected from the selfish whims of Donald Trump and his billionaire friends like Elon Musk. That's it. We have to show up every day and hold the line. And that is exactly what we're prepared to do as Democrats, and we will be united.
Eric, what are you telling your kids about being home for Christmas?
I'm not with my kids. My wife was just at a Texas roadhouse in the Midwest with her family, and she said, you better get your ass home soon. So we're all feeling it from our spouses, but she also knows that TSA agent is really counting on all of us, to get it right so that they can pay their bills and take their families out to dinner as well.